This is the 864 podcast from Rob of the Green, providing you with some insights, ideas, and actionable takeaways in just 864 seconds, or 1% of your day, with the explicit goal of making you get a little better, even if it's just 1%. Here's your host, Rob O'Donoghue. Let's do this.
Hey folks, welcome to the 864 podcast, another episode. I hope you're enjoying the season and series so far. This episode is with Susie Horgan, Managing Director of Springboard PR and Marketing. I'll include lots of details in the show notes. She is creating bespoke communication strategies for her customers and clients across all sectors and industries, and she has awards to boot. She won Cork Network Businesswoman of the Year in 2017. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Please do hang around for the last 60 seconds just after the chat to learn more about the 864, how you can get in touch, suggest a guest, leave a rating or review, and generally give me some feedback. So that's pretty much it. Here's the conversation with the amazingly talented Susie Horgan. Enjoy. This morning, I'm with Susie Horgan, Managing Director of the leading communications agency, Springboard PR and Marketing. Good morning, Susie.
Morning.
And I must say congratulations, because just last night you were awarded another accolade for the business.
Yeah, Springboard PR and Marketing won All-Star Business Award at the All-Ireland Business Summit in Croke Park for media and communications. So it's a national award, and just delighted for the team here to be recognised.
It's brilliant. I normally ask a question around success towards the end of the episode, but maybe because would you consider awards a mark of success?
I suppose they are. I mean, everyone likes to be recognised by their peers. So yes, I don't think any of us are arrogant enough to sit there and be happy in the knowledge that we're doing everything right. So when someone says, well, that's good, I think everyone likes that little bit of
nice. It's
pep in
nice.
Step.
Other people kind of recognising you
I think so.
for brilliant. So how has the world of PR and marketing changed in the 6 or so years since you've set up? It's about 6 years. Yeah,
it's 6 years, just over 6 years. I suppose it's very dynamic, very fast moving. You know, everyone talks about digital transformation, and that's really prevalent in our industry. When I started, I was... everything was hard copy. Email was in its infancy. I'm not giving away my age that much, but
not 6 years ago. Now,
No, that's well, when I started in PR,
right?
But now, I mean, everything is digital. Everything, traditional is still extremely important, but there's so much you can do instantaneously, and that's just growing and growing and growing. And in the last 6 years, content has become. I read a stat that 420 million people block ads.
Wow.
So,
them.
Okay. So how are you as a brand going to speak to your audience? You have to have strong, engaging content that delights them. So that's where, the world has really changed.
Content revolution. You studied sociology and psychology.
I did. Well, you did your homework.
I do a little bit of homework for these. How have they kind of added to what you do in everyday work now? Is there a link back to some of the learnings from that?
Yeah, I mean, my undergrad was sociology and psychology, and I really enjoyed them, and actually would love to do them now again. I was lucky enough actually to work with one of my professors in UCC on a project for UCC a couple of years ago, and I could have sat in his office talking to him all day long. So I really enjoy it. I love the way it makes you think critically. You don't always go with the status quo. I think that's what sociology in particular gives you. And psychology obviously gives you some insight to human behaviour. I mean, I wouldn't claim to be any way knowledgeable in it, but it gives you some insight, which obviously is very helpful in the business sense.
Yeah, brilliant. Psychology is what sets me on fire as well. So going out on your own 6 years ago, were you prepared for setting up your own business? Do you think there was things that you kind of went into it with over-optimism maybe, or what comes up when you think of it?
I'm very of the moment person, which is a good and a bad thing.
Right.
So I deal with what's happening in that moment a lot.
Right.
I've had to force myself to look more forward. When I started the business, I was in the moment. So did I intend on building out a team and actually having an agency? I hadn't really thought that much about it, to be honest.
Right.
I just really enjoyed working with clients and building out strategies for them. That was something that excites me and still excites me. And so that's how I ended up working for myself. But I suppose as the business grew, I've embraced that growth and built strategies around that. So if I knew what I know now 6 years ago, would I have started the business? Probably not, because, I did start in a recession, which wasn't the best idea. But now it's a much nicer place to be in, the business world. Sure. But yeah, it's, I suppose I'd always say to myself, I'd always remind myself to be brave. Just do it. Don't overthink it.
Would bravery probably one of your core values or strengths?
I wouldn't say strengths. I think I have to remind myself to be brave, if that makes sense. I'm not like anyone. Most people, I would think you're not completely overly confident in your own ideas all of the time. But sometimes, even if you don't think the idea is perfect, I suppose I'm a perfectionist, so I want things to be perfect.
Okay.
But it's not. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just need to do it.
Right.
If that makes sense.
That perfectionism over time become less, knowing that you can't be perfect all the time, or things might never get out the door? Then
I wouldn't say less, but more appropriate to the scenario, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm better now at reading a scenario and saying, no, this is perfect for now. It doesn't have to be perfect for every scenario ever, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a side effect of the job I'm in.
Right.
But yeah, I've become more agile, I suppose.
It's a good word. It's a word that is very popular at the moment as well.
It's very popular.
Other major lessons learned that you would take away from the 6 years, is there any one or two things that jumped out to say, wow, that was a big learning?
Well, my background is PR. My background is not finance.
Okay.
That was very challenging.
Right.
I knew nothing.
Yeah.
I have a banking background, but that was in the brand side, nothing to do with the actual money side.
Yeah.
So I've had to really work hard on that. I've had really good advice, and I've listened to the advice. I'm a big proponent of listening to advice. Have the right people around you and listen to their advice. So yeah, that's what I've done, and it's stood well to date. So
listening is very important, I guess, in any profession, but when you're running your own business for the first time, I suppose influence from mentors is important.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I've had any one specific mentor. I have a lot of peers who I'm very lucky to rely on and share information and situations with. I network a lot and network with peers. And I'd be quite an open person, open to hearing others' advice and open to giving them advice if asked. So I think that really helps when you have your own business, because it is a very lonely place.
Right. So it's like a mentor or mentee relationship.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah,
they'd know more about some subjects than I would. But, would they be always guiding me? Not necessarily.
Sure.
It would be kind of a 50-50, I hope.
Symbiotic relationship.
Symbiotic.
That just came
That's
to me there.
That's it.
I won't have to put that in afterwards. It sounds good. Irish people, are they, in general, or Irish businesses, good at branding themselves, marketing themselves, getting themselves out there?
No, I think that's pretty well known we're not.
Okay.
There's a lot of extremely successful businesses in Ireland who still stay below the radar. I have definitely been in meetings where people have gone, maybe one or two executives have brought us in, and there's others on the executive team going, we don't need you. We're doing grand.
Right.
Why do we need this? And then I'm very thankful to say that, if they turn around after the fact and go, now I know why we needed you. Yeah. Why didn't we do this years ago? And that has been feedback we've gotten. I think people always think that it's going to be, not in keeping with the values of the company, or not in keeping with the values of the owner manager, if that's the case, or the executive team. And obviously that's not what we're not in the business of getting people to do what doesn't fit with their business objectives. That's pointless.
Sure.
We're to, help achieve those business objectives.
And that's where the bespoke element, I suppose, comes in, that you would tailor and tweak it in alignment with every business that you're working
100%.
with.
And our experience that we're able to, we work with a lot of corporates, a lot of tech, and we also work in tourism quite a lot. And that has given us, and there's different teams in here who work on those areas, and that has given us a lot of insight and foresight as to how we think we can add value to businesses. Because it is about adding value. We're not in there just, to put your name in lights and not to have an impact.
Sure.
We want there to be ROI.
Of course. Yeah. Sounds good. What are the biggest mistakes you see people, and again, businesses, startups making when they go out on their own to try and market or brand themselves? Are there kind of just things you're seeing there that, oh my God, you could tweak this, that or the other?
I think so. I have in the past trained quite a number of startups in the Leos. I've worked with CIT in the Rubicon on their Excel program for females, which I really love doing. And I've had a lot of I've worked in some leadership programs doing training and mentoring, and time and time again, it's people try to they panic in that there's so many ways now of telling your story that they're trying to do it everywhere all at the same time, and they're a one-man show or one-woman show, trying to get their product or service off the ground, and they're panicking because they're, how am I going to be on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and Snapchat and YouTube? And my advice is, know your audience, choose your platform, and do that one platform, or if maybe two, really well.
Yeah.
If you spread yourself too thinly, you'll do nothing well.
Right.
And from a comms point of view, I'm obviously speaking, that is something I see time and time again. And also not knowing what your messaging is. What do you actually want people to remember when they've read whatever it is about you in the paper, or gone onto your website, or what are the key messages that should translate everywhere? So that's really important, because if you're saying different things in different places, sure, it's never going to ring true.
Very good. So the scattergun approach you might see is and it's then you're probably only doing each of those half well rather than one or two things very well. So, very, very interesting. So we're coming up near the 15-minute mark. What I'd like to do the last couple of minutes is just a couple of random questions that you get to pick a number between 1 and 100, and then
great.
I give the question. So
I
this
should
is
have had
just
more coffee.
Go for it.
59.
What is your management style? Do you have a style?
I would hope, I aim for it to be collaborative.
Okay.
I know it can be, I have to watch, because I am a perfectionist, and I have set ways of working to some degree, but I work hard to be collaborative, listen, open to others. And that's what I really want the culture of my organisation to be. And obviously, it being the managing director, that has to come from, Yeah. So that's the aim. I suppose you have to ask the others if I'm achieving that or not.
We'll get them on the next round, the part 2 of the podcast. Okay, go for another one.
Number 16.
So, inbox. So would you have an inbox 0 or an inbox 5,000 plus?
So I have the focus, or the not so focused, whatever that's called in Outlook. I use Outlook. Okay. And my focus is 0.
Right.
The one has the spam, the newsletters, whatever going in. I can't admit that it's probably at about, I would say on average, 500 to 1,000.
Okay. That's not too bad. I'm the type that would be inbox 0, and up till a couple of years ago, I probably wouldn't sleep too well at night if I knew
really?
I had a bunch
I know
in
people
there.
see it on mine and they're like, oh my God, how do you deal with that? Even my own husband's like, how do
it's a fear that comes over. I got better at that, I think, through meditation and stuff like that. So I'm serious, actually. Okay, last one before we wrap up.
Yep.
Number, go for it.
5.
Number 5, okay. These are great. They're coming out good this morning. So what does a typical day consist of now? If there's such a thing.
Typical day in the world of PR. There isn't really such a thing. So obviously consuming the media, so reading papers, listening to the radio. A lot of that happens before I ever get in here to my office. Okay. But I enjoy that. It doesn't really bother me. Walking a dog, I listen to one radio station. Getting ready, I listen to another radio station. I read the papers, and then I get in here. It's usually, debrief for the team. I do check my inbox, check my emails, see what's there. I've usually done that though first thing in the morning, I gotta admit. And then I suppose it's dealing with what's on the agenda that day. So, for me, it's usually it could be a lot of document writing actually for me at this stage of my career, strategies, a lot of meetings. I do have a lot of meetings. A lot of meetings, good few workshops. So mine is quite different to the normal, what the guys would do upstairs, which would be media relations, community management, stuff like that. So their days would be quite different to mine. Whilst mine is meeting a lot of clients, meeting a lot of potential clients, networking at events, that kind of thing. I try and keep 2 days a week where I'm in the office all day. Right. That's my aim. It doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah. No, that's a good insight. Susie, look, we're up against it. Just lastly, maybe give a shout out about how people can get in touch with you and the brand and the company.
So it's Springboard PR and Marketing, and we have offices in Cork City on South Terrace and in Dublin on Stephen's Green, and we are a strategic communications agency, and it's www.springboardpr.ie.
Brilliant. And just before we go, you have maybe around the time when I release this, a new product or a new campaign?
We have a new service that we're offering just in line with our clients' needs and the feedback we've been getting, called Spring Cubed. So basically it's using the 3 elements of the digital framework: owned media, earned media and paid media, and how we use those 3 elements to create an integrated campaign. So making sure that that content you're creating gets amplified, people see it, read it, share it, etc.
Cool. So that'll be out hopefully by the time
we're hoping to launch that in the start of May.
Brilliant. Excellent, Susie. Thanks so much. I've learned a couple of nice little nuggets there in the 15 minutes, and I appreciate your time.
Brilliant. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks. Hey folks, so that was the 864 seconds or thereabouts, and I hope you enjoyed it. Was there one key takeaway that stood out? Was it good? Was it bad? I would love to hear about it. So in the few seconds that remain, and to be fair, I've probably gone over, but I have a few asks. Please do subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or iTunes so that you never miss another show. You've heard that one before. I would love if you leave a rating and or a review. All of these help get the show further up the rankings, which means more people see the podcast and then hopefully hear it. It means a lot to me. Follow me on Rob of the Green or on Spreaker.com/Rob of the Green. That's where all the podcasts are hosted, but on the Rob of the Green site you can get to everything. The 1% Better podcast, this one, the 1 Minute Monday videos, and you can also connect in with me through the website. There's a feedback page, or on any of the socials. Just look for @Rob of the Green or Rob of the Green. I think you get the picture. Finally, give yourselves a round of applause because you've all been so lovely, and thanks for listening. Have a great day and good luck.